Good morning. Is it alright if you shake your hand?
Nice to meet you. And here's our report for your reference.
Alright. Hi, my name is Jason,
And my name's Aris.
and we're consultants from MDC Consulting. Today, we're going to be presenting our tiers proposal regarding digitization and employee rewards at McDonald's. Now, McDonald's is one of the world's largest fast food chains. Think of Big Macs. Think of 24-hour service. Think of fast drive-thrus. However, never do we think of the employees working behind the scenes, making all of this a reality. As I'm sure you know, recently there's been a wave of staffing shortages that has threatened to destabilize the McDonald's that we all know and love. Through our study, not only have we found a feasible way to introduce virtual reality training to McDonald's, but recommend the creation of a platform and policy that leverages this training to improve employee attraction and retention rates.
So, to properly understand the labor shortage and the intricacies of the McDonald's workforce, we employed numerous different methods to design our research study. So, research falls under 5 different categories. 1 is secondary research, 2 is corporate interviews, 3 are governmental interviews, 4 is an on-site McDonald's visit, and 5 is mass survey responses. But first, in secondary research, we thoroughly explored the McDonald's 2023 annual report along with other corporate press releases. We also analyzed labor data through governmental publishings and applied concepts from third-party articles and studies. So secondly, pertaining to corporate interviews, we conducted a joint in-person interview with Michelle Boudria, CEO of McDonald's Canada, and Alex Snelling, CPO of McDonald's Canada. We also conducted online interviews with Alt Hyder, Guest Experience Leader, and Christine Atkinson, Human Resources Manager at McDonald's Canada. So thirdly, in terms of governmental interviews, we traveled to Ottawa, the capital of Canada, to conduct 2 interviews. One was with Alexander Craney, Senior Policy Advisor to the Minister of Labour, and 2 was with Rosemary Cockshut, Policy Analyst for Social and Economic Development. Now, although these officials worked for the Canadian government, their insights extend to the whole of North America.
Fourth, to consolidate the information we received from executives, we conducted an on-site visit to a local McDonald's branch. There, on top of visual observations, we talked with Wendy Lelaine, the general store manager, 2 of our employees, and a handful of customers. Fifth, to consult a wider audience to get a feeling of some of the sentiments surrounding our proposed changes, we distributed a survey to McDonald's employees, past and present. The survey consisted of 11 questions and received a total of 105 responses. So, what information did we actually receive? Each of the 5 categories of research yielded useful insights which we interpreted into data for our decision making.
So under secondary research, we realized that there's a general lack of satisfaction amongst McDonald's employees. And one key factor playing into this lack of satisfaction is inadequate onboarding, the significance of which is demonstrated through the R-squared value of data in the UKM Journal of Management. So knowing this, we moved to corporate interviews to understand, well, why is this the case? Michelle Boudria and Alex Snelling told us that from an administrative perspective, they have difficulty keeping track of the sheer amount of workers they manage, leaving the onus up to the employee to seek out these opportunities. They also cited 90-day turnover as a key consequence to this unstructured approach. And so, armed with this understanding, we look to the government to understand how legislation plays a role in employee movement patterns. And so, our takeaways here are that a diminishing workforce in North America, as a result of being in the 4th stage of the demographic transition model, affords employees the ability to move from job to job to job because they're in such high demand.
Given this dynamic, one particular instance that resonated with us during our on-site visit was when a manager started getting frustrated at an employee because they did not know how long to cook the fries for. Upon seeing this, we asked a couple of employees how many weeks their onboarding process typically took. Their answer? Just a handful of days. This led us to consider making the onboarding process at McDonald's much more comprehensive through VR training. Finally, we interpreted the results of our survey, where digitization and VR proved to be promising pathways for greater accountability. Another complaint was that there was a lack of appreciation within the culture of McDonald's. So, To summarize, our research can be joined under three key conclusions regarding hiring at McDonald's. Firstly, employees are underappreciated. Secondly, onboarding is inadequate. And thirdly, there is a lack of effective employee management. Thus, synthesizing all of this data, we came up with a solution that addresses the employee experience through technology, as well as branch culture through policy. The solution falls under the acronym TIERS.
So each letter in the TIERS acronym focuses on different strategies and approaches for leading change. So the first phase of our proposal is T, training, which I'll explain as Jason sets up our demonstration. So McDonald's will employ a virtual reality training ecosystem to oversee employee training. Now with the VR headsets, McDonald's will have connected haptic gloves to provide a more realistic experience. Now training will be modular and segmented into levels, and this modular approach allows employees to learn flexibly without the need for an instructor. Now progress will also be saved as employees level up, thus gamifying the training experience. Now we're going to transition to our virtual reality training that we have created and coded. This is a module about frying fries at McDonald's. So a couple things to note is the setting of the McDonald's kitchen, and we can also see that it's a very small form factor. The virtual reality headset can be transported easily to any location, and Jason will be conducting this simulation in a 1 meter by 1 meter square. So it's very portable. Now we can see he's going to be observing the modules on screen, and he's going to be following the instructions there. And we can see that this really eliminates the need for a manager to come and take resources away from the branch to train employees, right? It makes for a much more efficient use of resources within the branch. We can also see that this is a much more tactile experience. Jason's really going through the motions as opposed to merely reading a manual. So what we saw is that he took the fries, he took the fryer, he's now in the process of frying the fries. So he's going to move them around, and then he's going to take them. He's now going to box the fries up, and we can see the little green box on the right. That signifies the end of the module, successfully completed. He finished the module. He's now greeted with a splash page that says he's completed with detailed metrics on how he did. So this proof of concept demonstrates that our virtual reality training is very feasible for a company as big as McDonald's. All right. So the second phase of our proposal is I, individualize. Now, McDonald's will develop a comprehensive cloud platform titled the McPortal, and the aim is to effectively integrate existing management tools within the McDonald's infrastructure. So in a personalized account, the system will display data from shifts and VR training for employees, while managers will have access to higher level data like customer wait times and customer orders.
The third phase of our proposal is E for efficiency. For the utilization of data garnered in previous phases of our proposal, as well as AI algorithms, the McPortal will be able to evaluate the flow of resources within franchises to streamline overall workflow. So for employees, functionalities include recommending VR training modules, assessing strengths and weaknesses, proposing shift times, and matching skills to ideal roles in the restaurant. For management, benefits include predicting peak rush hours, managing employee shifts, and organizing incoming staff applications. The fourth stage of our proposal is R for reward, and there are two strategies here to improve the overall employee experience. The first being customized employee benefits, where employees are able to choose between different rewards like insurance, company discounts, or even education subsidies based on their varying needs. The second is a personal achievement record, or a PAR system, which will be used to recognize unique corporate accomplishments. Badges will be awarded for things like VR training progression, milestones like cooking 100 burgers, or overall seniority within the company, which can be displayed on one's online profile or pinned on their in-person uniform. Finally, the fifth stage of our proposal is S for spotlight. Given a lack of awareness around the perks of working at McDonald's, McDonald's will highlight employment benefits through authentic means. These include referral benefits for existing employees when they get a friend to apply to McDonald's, short-form videos for employees sharing their own personal stories on corporate social media accounts, and finally, collaborations with different organizations like youth sports teams to advertise to potential future employees. All in all, Tiers makes McDonald's the first organization to develop a complete digital ecosystem centering around employee well-being, accessing unique metrics through VR in a high turnover industry.
So now we'll transition to finances and lay out how our Tiers proposal will have a return on investment of 133% within the next 5 years. So we encourage you to refer to page 19 and 20 of our report, which is tagged with the little sticky note for an in-depth financial breakdown. So our financial impacts can be broken down into 3 main categories, which correspond to each table on the report. 1 is an initial cost of $4 million. 2 is a recurring cost of $13 million annually. And 3 is a recurring savings of $36 million annually. So for the initial costs, there are around 15,000 McDonald's branches, and our VR headset plus gloves will cost approximately $100 per branch. Now, including $2 million in costs associated with development, we are confident that the initial investment will be no more than $4 million. Now, in terms of the recurring cost, we divide the maintenance of this proposal into 61 regions, 48 states in the contiguous US, and 13 provinces and territories in Canada. Now, we will allocate approximately $190,000 per region for server upkeep and a regional tiers manager, which equates to around $11.5 million. Now, including an additional $1.5 million in company-wide expenses, the total recurring fee of the proposal will be $13 million annually.
For measurable savings, comparing hiring under tiers with the status quo, and a status quo with a 130% employee turnover rate and an average cost of around $50 in onboarding fees per employee, McDonald's spends around $93 million on onboarding annually. With tiers, we predict as a conservative estimate that there will be an improved 30% reduction in employee turnover and a $10 decrease in average onboarding costs per employee, which yields a better $57 million on annual onboarding spending. Thus, tiers will save $36 million per year. Now, let's look at the bigger picture. Our financial projections are for the next 5 years until December 2028. In year 1, with initial and recurring costs applied, we will run a deficit of $17 million. However, from years 2 to 5, with recurring costs and savings applied, we will yield a net positive of $23 million per year, breaking even just before the 2-year mark.
So, all in all, our solution aims to modernize and redefine the employee experience at McDonald's to make them a trailblazer in the industry. Now, we all know about McDonald's world famous Happy Meals, right? Well, it's time to put an emphasis on happy employees. Thank you all so much for your time, and we'd be happy to take any questions.